And it's back after a long hiatus of 14 days, I believe, depending on when this video is uploaded. Unique Talk with Malique is back. And I'm with a special guest. This is a good brother of mine from Yu-Gi-Oh! Battles and chats, from cutting promos and videos and backstage in the house, in the apartment, like anywhere we go, we just cut promos against each other. One time we just had spent a whole day sending memes of "you're missing the point," and without this person, I feel like the big bad booty daddy character would have flopped. So I am thankful for this person. I view this man not as a friend, but as a brother who I can see and I can trust. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the man behind the Reaper character, Crossfire, aka John Edwards.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, that was a anticlimactic intro for your, what I have to say. But how you feeling, John? This is, Unique Talk. This is your first time being here solo. Last time we had you, you was with Hunter, which was in Beautiful Death, which was around October, November-ish. So lots of change.
Yeah, you can say a lot of things have changed.
Indeed. And speaking of changes, do you want to tell everyone about what you've been up to lately with your YouTube channel, all that stuff?
Not really. Computer broke down, so most of my YouTube stuff has gone on hiatus. I was doing a podcast with Prodigy and Hunter for NFL stuff, but since I don't exactly have a computer, can't exactly record this stuff.
Alright. Well, alright. Now, as you guys know, John Edwards is on his channel. John Edwards portrayed the character, the Reaper of Real Talk. And let's get some details. The Reaper of Real Talk, what was the character behind it? What made you get that character? Where did the name Reaper came from? Like, if you don't mind me asking.
Honestly, the name Reaper for the character that we have in the podcast situation to be determined in the future, as you said on your thing with Hunter last episode. It came from back when I was in middle school. Me and my older brother went to the same middle school / high school together, and me and him would always follow each other around and cause trouble. We were pretty much class clowns back in the day. So he earned the nickname Grim, and since me and him were pretty much like twins, they gave me the nickname Reaper, so it was pretty much Grim Reaper when me and my brother were together. So that's where the nickname came from, and it stuck with me from my high school friends and carried over to my YouTube channel since then.
That's a very interesting story. I'm glad to figure out where the nickname Reaper came from. I mean, look at it. Me and you had similar paths. Your brother gave. You hang out with your brother, and that's in school, and that's the reason why you got the nickname Reaper. When I was in high school and stuff, the big bad booty daddy name came from. I was just like, hey, everyone's like, oh, you like booty, you always go for the big girls with big butts. I'm just like, yeah, I'm the big bad booty daddy. And, I was just like, you know what? I actually did like Scott Steiner. I actually did like that nickname. And I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna take that name because I don't see a lot of people use it. And not a lot of people watch wrestling, so I was just like, if anyone gets the name, then hey, that's awesome. But they don't. It's just a cool nickname. That's a cool nickname that people will love me with. So the Big Bad Booty Daddy name came from legit me always trying to chase after the big booty girls in high school. So fun fact.
Yeah.
But now the gimmick.
Alright, I just put on my headphones. Can you hear me?
Oh, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Alright.
Now, can we get into the gimmick Reaper? What was Reaper's intentions as a character in Real Talk? What was the goal? What was his setup? What was Reaper in Real Talk? What was his motive?
Alright, so you know how Vince McMahon turned really good stars into jobbers and ends up killing their careers? That was pretty much Reaper's whole. Find someone who he found as a threat or as good competition and pretty much dominate them in each and every way possible to where they pretty much became like a just nothing but a squash match to him. So he's pretty much one of those. He was pretty much one of those Braun Strowman, Brock Lesnar. How you would picture like a proverbial big man type of character, to where the people that you like ended up getting jobbed out to him for no reason.
Huh.
That's what he was at first, but after the whole thing with feuding with Booty Daddy and everything, he became basically, I don't know, you know Finn Balor's demon persona? Basically something like that, to where he has two different sides of him. One side which is just regular Finn Balor and everything, to where he acts all calm and normal, but when he gets serious and all that, that's like with me and you when we feuded, compared to like when I feuded with Hunter or Jimmy or something like that. Basically, it's a switch that went off, so.
Alright. Now, speaking of me and you feud, I talked about it in with Hunter, and I noticed that when I sent uploaded the video, you said you wanted to send a message. They said put me on a unique talk with Malique so you can address it. So, what's the elephant in the room? What did you want to address?
Alright, so you said in your thing with Hunter that the last match me and you had at, I believe it was Fastlane, that you completely wanted to wipe from the record books. I actually somewhat have to agree and disagree with that. Alright, so here's the thing about Real Talk Fastlane, right? Usually when me and Malique end up doing our feuds, it was like the first time we had 3-4 months to prepare for it. Second time it was like maybe a 2-month way to prepare. The thing with Fastlane is we were just coming off of a pay-per-view not even 2 weeks before that, and with everybody and their schedules for work and school and all that, we basically had up to zero communication when it came to preparing for our feud at Fastlane. Hence the reason why everybody in the podcast said that they just didn't enjoy it the same way that they enjoyed our first feud, which I honestly feel if we had the same amount of time that we did the first time, we probably could have made that feud a lot better than what it was. So I have to sort of agree with you on the fact that it was bad, but disagree with you on the fact that it never should have happened.
Well, my take on it is that we could have done so much better, and with the way that the Olajuwon Bradshaw character was coming, and I would like to discuss it more. I was going to say it could have been more better, like the way Olajuwon was coming to Real Talk, and all the plans I have for him, and sadly, we kind of cut ties with Real Talk, but Olajuwon Bradshaw was going to be the biggest thing in Real Talk, and with you're one of the guys, the top guys with good promos and believable build. But now that I just feel like with Fastlane, with me and you, it should have been Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano worthy. But it all became a let's see, it became basically a Jinder Mahal and Roman Reigns feud. It's just like it tanked. It fell, and I would hate to say like, oh, our feud jumped the shark because I don't feel like it jumped the shark, but I do say that I feel like the whole build to Fastlane, I really did wish it could have been better. Honestly, I feel like I think it should have. I'll say this. Looking at it, I would have just took the whole feud off of Fastlane because of the 2 week build after Chamber. It wasn't gonna work because we still had to see it. Well, you could have won Chamber, so if you won Chamber, hey, you don't really need an IC title shot because you're about to defend the title at Fastlane for the you're gonna defend the world title against Jimmy, in the rematch. So just like either you defend the world title or you go for the IC title. Either way, you're still gonna work with a 2 week build. So a 2 week build, and then none of like you said, the communication, the promos, and recording and work issues, school issues. That's already hard to deal with. So I would say I wish if Fastlane was about 3 weeks or 3 weeks or 4, then it would have been good. But a 2 week build is no way to build something.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And I still say this to this day. I honestly feel that if we would have just pushed off me and you meeting each other and stuff and just had the Fatal 4-Way match at Mania that I kept pushing for, it might have ended up a lot better. Because when it comes to the four of us, me, you, Luigi, and Jimmy, there's a lot of that went on there. Hold up. I don't know if that's your end or my end, but it's saying it's losing signal. But like I said, there's a lot of history that went on there with the four of us. Take, for example, when I came to the podcast, I ended up beating Luigi for the world title, my very first match, as everybody knows. Then, when it came to me, you, and Jimmy, everybody knows the history behind that. Me and you ended up feuding with each other, and Jimmy ended up playing spoiler in our match at Money in the Bank to where he ended up beating both of us. So it's the situation just would have played itself out right there, but things just didn't work out the way they were supposed to, because Luigi ended up winning a match to earn his way in, and I ended up losing at Fastlane, which I believe was the scenario to where if I would have ended up winning, I would have been considered to be in the match at Mania, if I'm correct. So
Yes, because me personally, I really, if you would have won, I would want my IC title match. I would have won the IC title back immediately. I didn't want to wait till like a pay per view after or give Hunter, the title match because it's just like, oh wait, so forget about me. So it would have been basically you were inserted to the world title match, and it's crazy because the thing about it is that looking back at it, I'm trying to remember why the IC title was even defended at Mania due to the fact that Jimmy didn't really earn an IC title match. It was just like, oh, I won the real talk, Royal Rumble, and then, so I get a shot for the, world title, and then next year, it's a title for title match. So that's something that I always try to look back at. It's just like, why was the IC title defended? Just to spark a boost, or it's just a food for thought. Like, why was the IC title defended? I'm not complaining about it because it added to the match and it made the IC title more important in my eyes. But looking at it, why was the IC title defended? And especially if it was in a triple threat match.
Well, from what I remember, the only reason it was defended was because we had the whole thing to where all titles were supposed to be defended at Mania. And since you were the champion for both titles, it would have been either you do 2 matches or you defend it in 1. And since we kind of made that rule prior to Mania that people can't do double duty, the only way to actually make it to where both could be defended would have been to have it both be in that one match.
Oh, that makes sense. So, I mean, just trying something like I completely forgot how the IC title was supposed to be defended. So it's just like, that was always weird to me. But hey, speaking of the IC title, let's take it back. Let's talk about probably one of the most controversial moments in Real Talk that kind of shook the masses. We had Sean Bradley, who congratulations on becoming Pro South champion. Congrats, man. Pro South Wrestling, Sean, we did a storyline where I tried to contact Sean. Me and Maverick, aka Kieran Shea, we personally reached Sean to get him back to do the storyline with Kieran for the world title. And I was trying to push it for it. And, we got him to, and I'll say it because, the kid kayfabe, I signed Sean Bradley to a contract to Real Talk to get him back for the world title. He won number 1 contender spot for Backlash. But on to the controversy. This was the beginning of the controversy in Real Talk. I like to say this inspired everything. To everyone, started to complain or that things wasn't going their way, or their people being, this and that. Kieran Shea, and I love him to death. He's a good brother. Maverick, Kieran Shea is a terrific actor. If Kieran, if you're watching this, I love you, man. You need to be in Hollywood because you're such a great actor. You're such a great performer. When it comes to like wrestling and characters, with people like us, you come in my mind because you know how to put on the character. You know how to become the character. And when we were doing Real Talk, you inspired me to be great, and you were just great. But back to the story. Kieran Shea, aka Maverick, always came to the episode. He was a world champion, and what pissed me off, like this. It wasn't like, kayfabe Pete. This really, like, I was furious. He goes on a live podcast and buries the newly IC title, the ICP title. And I'm just like, I was heated. And I remember, and then, me and John was feuding, and then, John, what was your take on it with Kieran first buried the belt live on the podcast? Did you feel some type of way, or?
Honestly, I can't really say that I felt some type of way, more that I kind of expected him to try and bury the title. And you know the history with me and Maverick. Me and him on the podcast never really got along all that well, but when it comes to me and Kieran, we get along just fine. So my initial response at it was pretty much to laugh. My second response at it was to message you and tell you to pretty much let's bury the world title feud.
Oh yeah, let's get to that. So I remember talking to John and Luigi because back before we did there was me and John and Luigi. We used to do bro talks together, the 3 of us. I do miss those. But I remember telling John that, yo man, the next time we do a podcast, we're gonna bury that world title. We're gonna bury the world title and we're gonna bury the feud. And then this was the contract signing, and that's the big moment where I was like, Reaper, you beat the classics, you beat Prodigies, you beat Enigmas, you beat Brits with Wits, and I don't know if you remember that promo, but I made sure that promo buried the world title feud, And I remember everyone was like, "Oh, the IC title is a great title. Hunter likes wants the IC title. Jimmy wants the IC title. Luigi's like, yo, I might have to go for the IC title because it's getting important." And I remember telling the chat that, hey, IC title is now officially better than the world title. And that's where Kieran was like, "Oh no, it's not." And then Sean, I love you, Sean, but god dang, man, Sean was like, how is the mid card guys trying to bury the main event guys? That just shows professionalism. And I think John was the first one to. I think John, you mentioned it, saying that if the mid card guys are more exciting to see than the main event guys, then it's clearly that the main event guys are doing something wrong and should be taking notes of the mid card guys. If I'm correct.
Yeah, pretty much.
But what was your whole take on the whole that? Because I remember that caused a lot of heat with well, not like heat like that, but it was just like a very heated day. And I remember you was upset about how Karen kept burying the belt. I was upset about it, and then everyone was looking at us because now everyone was mad at us because we were trying to bury the belt, but we were just like, no, we didn't want to bury the world title. We just wanted to bury the world champion. Me and Don, like we respected the world title belt, but I wanted to bury the world champion. And I made sure I said that.
That's pretty much all it came down to. I mean, in the end, we ended up burying the whole feud, but the whole mission for us was pretty much to just shove it in Mav's face, because he basically said that the whole entire thing with the IC title was stupid and wanted nothing to do with it. Which, towards the end of Real Talk, I found it funny that he started actually taking interest in the very title that he called a joke.
Yeah, then at the end of Real Talk, he's the loserweight champion. How the mighty have fallen from from the first Real Talk World Champion to the last person to ever held the Loserweight Championship currently. Isn't that amazing?
I like to think of that situation as a for now scenario. I still have faith that one of these days we'll actually figure out things, but that's another thing I wanted to actually address was the situation that ended up ending Real Talk.
That moment, that big decision. Would you like to? I let Hunter did his take on it, and then I said what I said. Would you like to do your take, and then I'll say,
Alright, so I'm not going to necessarily point fingers at anybody, because we all ended up having our issues, and I kind of feel like you said the reason why things went so south was basically just a lack of communication. Luigi was working, you ended up basically change around your work schedule a lot, because when we started the podcast, I believe we were doing it on weekends.
No, we did it like on Tuesdays or Thursdays, in the afternoon, because I was doing school and not work, so.
Yeah, so we ended up doing it during the week and all that. Luigi didn't exactly have a job at the time. Hunter wasn't going to college, and you didn't have a job at the time. You were basically just going to school, like you just said. So the communication was there. People were showing up for the podcast. So that's part of the thing that I feel ended up killing it. However, when it comes to like the whole GM situation, I kind of feel that was a scenario that basically, I don't know, I can't really say the GM thing never should have happened, because I was kind of enjoying it, but the whole thing that ended up killing it was, I believe, we were trying to figure out the was it the world title feud or the NXT title?
The
The
RTX
RXT
title.
title.
RTX
Yeah.
title, because the story. Well, this is what
You can
happened.
try.
Well, let me say it, and then you go on after that. What happened was, and I said this, the Unique Talk with Hunter is Kindside. Jimmy wanted to do a title defense at New Japan Dominion, which was June 9th. And at first I was like, no, I'm not doing that. Me and John didn't want to do that because we don't know anything about it. But I did say that the title can be defended if you give them a heads up. So I was like, you know what? It's me and John. I don't do New Japan. But I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's have it. And I said, yeah, Jimmy, you can defend your title. So I was looking at the people who could be a good fit. I was thinking either Luigi 1 to give him a good name. Crossfire came in my mind, aka John, but just something not different from Reaper because Reaper got and then obviously Youngblood. And I remember I talked to Youngblood and you can ask Hunter. We did this great thing, felt really good. I wish it was recorded because it was so good in character. But I gave it to Youngblood because me personally, one, I knew he was giving up his world title match, and I felt like, and I made a promise to Hunter during WrestleMania time that I would give him a title match after Mania. And then, he won the title match at Mania, and then now he's giving away, basically Hunter's been giving up 2 title defenses now. And I feel like, what? The kid deserves one. So I was like, what? Let's give it. He knows New Japan, so it would be a good match for Jimmy versus him. And I'll say it to this day, if it was kayfabe, and you guys got me, but it was legit. Jimmy did not want to work with Hunter. He complained about it. He didn't want to do it, and to me, it looked like hypocrisy because there was times where we all said to Hunter, you or someone else, "Hey, stop doing that. Just do it, man. It ain't a big deal." Now I'm seeing Jimmy doing it, and just like, wow, I'm seeing one of my brothers becoming what he, said he didn't want to do, and always, Jimmy was the one always, trying to enforce the rules, but when the rules came to him, it looked like he didn't want to obey them. So I came to the decision, it's time to stop this because I didn't like what we all were becoming. And does it hurt? Yes, it does. But it kind of kills because I'd be like, okay, I know what I want to do for real talk. I'm like, oh wait, I ended that. Never mind. Because there's so much I want to do with you guys, but it's just like it's too much stress, and I didn't like what we were becoming. But before I can continue, John, your take on the story and what you want to say.
Honestly, when it comes to the situation with Jimmy, I'm not going to pull any punches here. Like, the whole thing that we agreed on was that whatever the general manager says goes. So, and usually when you're in a company working for someone who's your boss, which since, as we said, your YouTube channel, your rules, I personally would have ended up just firing him. That's just my take on it. However, I do want to say that I kind of wish that even though that happened, that we just pretty much dropped the whole match at New Japan and everything, because me and Hunter had a good fix to where he would have been able to still get his match, which was me and him came up with the idea in the chat that me and him would move our match from NXT to New Japan, since we had that whole thing where you can't do double duty, and I already had the RXT title match at TakeOver. So our plan with that was basically instead of facing Jimmy at New Japan, me and him were going to have the match at New Japan, and if he would have beaten me there, he would have taken my spot in the triple threat match, which still would have effectively made Jimmy have to face him. Granted, you would be involved as well, and he would still get his world title match or RXT title match that he wanted.
And I know I said no, but here's the reason why I said no to that. And this is the honest truth. I feel like what I said, it should have stayed. Not that, okay, we're going to just switch it up and change it. When I said, hey, defend that title, just defend the title. Don't argue with it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can get mad, but just do the business. Like you don't.
You're kind of cutting in and out.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Is it clear now? All right.
Yeah.
Just do your business, and I didn't. I felt like, why is it that everyone's changing what I have planned for them without my approval? So it was a no. The idea was good, but at the end of the day, I wasn't happy with it because no one was doing what I said to do. They all did what they wanted. Everyone wanted themselves to do, if that makes sense. So that's why, I said no, and that's why.
And I completely understand that. Like I said, if I were in your shoes, and this is just me, then I was the one playing the kind side gimmick and the podcasts were going up on my channel and everything, I would have just pulled the plug and fired the person causing the issues. Or at least dropped them out of the podcast until they could have acted better than what they were doing.
Yeah, I see. Hear me out. I thought of it. I really did. Like, I didn't want to, because I already got rid of like 3 of my friends already. 3 people. I didn't want to kick no one out. I didn't want to get no one else. Get no one else out. And me and Jimmy were really close. I love Jimmy. He's my brother. But I didn't want to kick him out. I didn't want to, be the person, hanging out with him. And, let's say, he never wanted to do the thing again. Well, I don't want to be like hanging out with Jimmy. And then we just sat down and I was just like, deep out, oh man, I remember when I kicked him out and he never returned because, he didn't want to do business. Because, I look at it like this. If I fire you, because, me and Jimmy, like, we're still in the area where we hang out. If I would have got rid of Jimmy, that would have completely affected the whole friendship. Like, I don't think me and Jimmy would be in the same room if I would have took him out and tell him I don't want him on my channel no more. So that's why I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to ruin no friendship. It's the exact reason why when Hunter leaves, I rather Hunter do it on his free will rather than me personally kicking him out or you leaving. Like, I want, if I kick you out, I feel like that's gonna cut ties with everything. So that's why I just like, you know what, I don't want to do it. And then the thing with Real Talk, do I miss it? Yes, I do. But it has been peaceful. I haven't really seen no arguments, and I feel like with the stuff with the podcast, there was always arguments, whether it be small, and then there's always, and I'm not gonna say names, but if you know the person, you know it. If you don't know who it is, then you know. But I just feel like they always trying to make it to a bigger deal, and then when if you should have been the bigger person, just don't really pay attention to it or don't increase the heat of it. Like, that's just stupid. But I'll say this, Real Talk, it could come back maybe, but as for, like you said, John, forget the gimmicks, forget the characters, let me Bro Talk. Here's what I'm gonna say to that. It's I like Real Talk because it was I like the Real Talk with the gimmicks because it was different. It was something unique. Like I said, do I like episodes without the gimmicks? Yeah, but overall, I do like gimmicks with the podcast because it was something unique for the channel and unique with the podcast. So the only way I would like to bring back Real Talk is we keep the gimmicks, and then I know we do the gimmicks. Everyone's gonna be arguing all that stuff, And I really want Real Talk to be back with the characters because that's what I kind of liked about Real Talk. We had characters, we had personality, we had so many things. Like, like honestly, I really wish that we didn't live so far because I would actually legit make Real Talk a wrestling program because we were so great together.
Yeah, I can agree with that, but like I said, until we can actually figure out work schedules and everything, I don't see that working out as a possibility because, as I said before, I believe the main thing that ended up killing the podcast wasn't the arguing, it was the lack of communication because we were expecting people to do more than what they necessarily were able to do. Because it wasn't just the situation with Hunter and Jimmy for the RTX title that ended up killing it. It was a long span of things. I was getting frustrated at Luigi for not showing up on podcast. Me and him were arguing a lot, and when it comes to Hunter and everything, he kind of had a tendency to complain when things didn't go his way as well. Had like back at Money in the Bank when Jimmy ended up not Money in the Bank when Jimmy ended up cashing in his Money in the Bank contract that he earned. That pretty much just started a whole thing of complaining that I feel never really stopped. It was a bunch of scenarios that ended up killing the podcast, so can't really place the blame on just that one situation. So
Well,
if we ever did,
I would say this: it's because of that situation that made me think of everything, and so I get what you're saying, but because of that one scenario, that situation, because yes, everything has been building, but because of that situation, that was just the icing on the cake. Like that, because of that scenario, that is what really sealed the fate of Real Talk.
yeah, bring the podcast back with the gimmick. It would like without a shadow of a doubt. And like I get Jimmy's your friend, I get I'm your friend. Hunter, I don't really know the situation between you two
Oh, me and Hunter,
at this.
we addressed. Me and Hunter are really good friends. We talk. Like, I mean, we did a Money in the Bank
Well,
talk
I
together.
know the last time we had a conversation about it, you said you didn't really feel either type of way about Hunter.
Yeah, it was just the heat of the moment. Me and Hunter we're pretty good. So I still consider Hunter a good friend. And like I said in the last episode, I like Hunter. We just so much, it's just what he does. You got irritates me. Sometimes what I do irritates him, but overall, I will consider him a friend.
All right, but like I was saying, I know that you consider people your friends, but you yourself said that you wanted Real Talk to be a professional scenario, right? To where basically people took the podcast seriously. So I get that you feel some type of way about letting people go off the podcast, but that might be something that you might end up having to consider if the situation happens again, because the podcast isn't going to do well if we have people just trying to take control of everything when we've established the fact that it's not what people want to do. We're trying to have like a set schedule, a set plan and everything, and people are just going off the rails trying to do whatever it is they feel like doing.
I feel you.
Think of it as like, all right, what culture, how they had Adam Blampier and everything, and how they ended up having to let him go because of scenarios that were causing issues in the podcast for them, and basically situations in his outside life that ended up making it so they had to fire him. That's the way I picture the situation for Real Talk. It's not a fun decision, but it is a business decision.
I feel you. I understand you. I agree. I agree. I understand you 100%. And that's that's why I always it is in my head that hey, if I do want things to say that I have to do this and that. So that's why I mean, like I said, with Real Talk, the wrestling podcast, I like to say this. I do want Real Talk to succeed, but now I'm looking at it like this. I changed my YouTube channel from HJ699 to Real Talk. So now I can make Real Talk channel succeed. So therefore, I'm so trying to live up to my promise to making Real Talk great. So and I like to there's like some projects I'm happy to really do. I can focus like I could do Real Talk game reviews, Real Talk reactions. There's so much I'm ready to do for my channel that I'm really excited to do, but I just need the time to do it because of working and my schedule. Because I wanted to do so many reviews and stuff like that, but it's just like the scheduling. Sometimes you come home from work, it's just like man, I don't feel like it right now. You want to do a live reaction, it's like I don't like feel like doing my hair, or, stuff like that. But there's stuff I do have planned for my channel that I'm excited to do. Yeah, I can't wait till when the time comes to it. Yeah, it's probably gonna be a great day for me. It's gonna be like uploading Real Talk episode 1 again. Just something great.
Yeah, I hear you on that. Which, hopefully, if I can end up getting things figured out with my computer and everything, or if we ever have time, you might have me on some of that stuff as well. But
Oh, of course, no doubt, no doubt, no doubt.
alright, so what else do we have to talk about?
Well, let's talk. Let's try to get into. We're in the 42-minute mark. Let's try to. I feel like we talked about a lot. The issue with Real Talk. That's something that you wanted to talk about. But let's try to dive into some stuff. Some stories you want to tell. Talk about some feuds and your history and your personal experience with them. Can you talk about your feud with Enigma? Let's start with that. Your feud with Enigma. What you your thoughts about that and how everything went out?
Honestly, looking back at it, I can't really remember much about that feud. All I know is the fact that he had just won the Money in the Bank title, or not title, briefcase, and I pretty much went on a tangent as Reaper saying that nobody is deserving of anything in the podcast, and it was going to go down two ways for that. Either I ended up winning and proving everybody right that basically Jimmy winning the briefcase was a joke, or I actually helped push Jimmy for that feud and basically established him as a threat in the podcast. So, when it came to the situation with me and Enigma, I can't really say I didn't enjoy the feud, but I feel that there was a huge lack of communication when it came to it, because you and I know that some people in the podcast, they don't necessarily communicate all that well. So, did I enjoy the match? Yes. Do I wish I could have done more with it? Yes.
Alright.
It's not exactly my favorite feud, but it's not exactly my least favorite feud, if you get what I'm saying.
I get you. Let's talk about the incident with Sean Bradley when the infamous part-time bitch promo that happened. Sean took it to the heart, and he left on us. He walked out on the Survivor Series plan. He walked out on Real Talk. Talk about what your thoughts were during that period and your relationship with Sean Bradley as of right now, if you don't mind.
Honestly, my situation for that, or my feelings about that situation, honestly, I laughed about it. Like, I felt the whole entire thing was just a stupid scenario that was blown way out of proportion. Now, my reaction to it was basically the same as everybody else's. Like, what was going on? I thought everybody knew that all these promos were kayfabe. You know, like we established that a long time ago. The whole part-time bitch thing, I believe you told me, was basically a rib on not just him, but everybody who just wasn't showing up. Maverick, Sean, Jimmy, LAX, Alphonse, and Lobo. Or not Alphonse. Alphonse is Lobo. Alphonse and he, it was just basically a situation that wasn't supposed to be just a crack at him, but he's the only one who took it personally, which I found completely hilarious since he's an actual wrestler for Pro South, which, as you said, congratulations to him for winning the world title, but I don't know, I just found it really ironic, you know? Like, the one person you would expect not to take promos seriously ended up taking promos seriously and walking out. And not only walking out, pretty much just trashing almost everybody in the podcast. I believe the only person he didn't actually say anything offensive to or about was me, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was you, Hunter, and Karen were good, but then Hunter went to defend me, and then he became on Sean's shit list. So
Yeah, so I don't know. I still find the situation hilarious, and there are some of us, myself included, that just got over the situation. Like, at this point, I could really care less about it. I've pretty much called it water under the bridge and just let bygones be bygones. But then there's other people who, I don't know, I can't really say they're overreacting because what was said about them and to them kind of was messed up. But it's just a weird, touchy scenario, like, I like Sean, he's cool and everything, I support him, me and him still talk about his career in Pro South every so often, I wish him luck and all that stuff. I just don't really know about the situation at this point. But I believe me and you were talking to him before Real Talk ended about coming back for a couple episodes, which that's another thing that really made me upset about the podcast ending because I was actually looking forward to that.
well, if it makes you feel better, maybe me and you can do an interview with Sean on a Unique Talk 3-way. No homo.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about your history with Prodigy. Talk about that feud.
Alright, so when it came to me and Prodigy, are you talking about like the first feud where I ended up winning the world title or
All,
the one after that?
all your feuds.
Alright, so me and Prodigy, when I first came to Real Talk, we ended up facing for the Real Talk World title along with you in my very first match, which I ended up winning. So after that, when it came to Reaper vs. Prodigy on the podcast, the whole entire thing was basically every time I wanted to face him, I basically reminded him about how I embarrassed him. So, I guess you could say that it was a long continuing story, you know what I mean? Like, how with me and you in the IC title, like, I ended up trying to call you out and everything, and you accepted. It was pretty much in that scenario. Like, if I wanted to face Prodigy, I basically just trashed him and called him a joke, which usually 9 work. I can't really necessarily say it's the best way to go about things, but it was an effective way of going about things. If you,
Now,
if you get,
I get exactly what you're saying, but now we're crunching to like the last 10 minutes, so let's do a little game like I did with Hunter. I say a person's name or I say a thing, and you just you shoot on it, you tell your honest truth on it, and when you're finished, just tell me next, and I give you the next person. All right? Let me know when you're ready.
go ahead.
Goku Black.
I'm ready. Love him.
That's it.
Yep.
Zamasu.
Godly.
Hulk Hogan.
Overrated.
All right. And remember, you don't have to say just one word. You can say it's a shoot thing. You can say whatever you want. Alexa Bliss.
Talented, but push too much sometimes.
Sometimes. Now you see it.
Hey, I not necessarily saying I'm mad about her beating Nia Jax. I picked Becky Lynch to win, but if I had to choose a Raw superstar, it would have been Alexa Bliss. So.
I mean, all I'm saying is I love the whole story, the setup of the story. It just should have been it should have been Alexa. Alexa just lost the women's title, and like she only been away from the women's title picture for like what 4 weeks. I mean, anything. The whole storyline should have been Natalia, but that's just me. But moving on.
I guess I get the situation that they were going about because they didn't exactly want to have Ronda lose her first match, but at the same time they didn't exactly want to have Nia lose to Ronda. So
Yeah, I get you. But speaking of getting in it, I think this person gets it the most. Maverick.
annoying, hypocritical, and a coward.
Well, can you elaborate on this? I mean, what? Give us a story. What's the?
I mean, what's there to elaborate on? I mean, how many times did I say I wanted to face him in a match, and he ended up saying I was a waste of his time, which towards I think it was about a month or two ago, he actually said he wanted to feud with me, which I actually found hilarious, and jokingly I said, nah, you know what, it's not really worth my time.
For those, I mean, there's this. For those who don't know, ever since me and John finished our feud, John was trying to feud with Maverick the most, and Maverick always kept ducking him. So for a full year, Maverick did not want to feud with John, and which was crazy because when you look at the history books, I think John feuded with everyone except for Kieran.
Yep.
So the only time John and Karen locked up in the ring was in a battle royal scenario. So if they were to ever go 1-on-1, who knows who would have won?
Which, speaking of the battles royal scenarios, 9 times out of 10, I ended up actually getting a better score, which basically, the whole thing with me and Mav, like, it was basically a in-chat feud of who the hell the best heel was. Like, me and him, basically, I feel were probably two of the best shit talkers when it came to actually cutting promos and shit. So, like, that's basically what mine and his whole entire feud would have been about. Like, I honestly feel that I was the better heel and he was just a cocky, arrogant piece of shit. So, which, like I said, about, and I believe I sent this to the behind the scenes chat as well, like, he messaged me saying, hey, I believe it's time for us to do our feud, and I messaged him back, and he went like, you know, that does sound like a good idea. So, we were planning on it, and then later on, when he messaged me about the feud again, it was when I was getting into my feud with Hunter, and I basically said, yeah, you know what, I don't think it's worth my time.
All right. Thank you for that fun story. This is why I was ready for these shoot segments. But let's try shoot another one. Let's get the Enigma hour in. Let's get Enigma. Let's do it like this. The LAX edition. You start off with Javi, you work your way to Alphonse, and then you do the leader, Jimmy.
Alright, so Javi, don't really have much to say about him. I think we feuded. No, me and Javi never had a one-on-one feud. The only time me and him actually feuded was when we were doing the Beautiful Death versus LAX thing. I mean, I have to say, out of the three of them, Javi probably would be my most liked. Although I can't necessarily say I have really anything else to say about him other than that. I mean, we never feuded one-on-one, so. Alright, so Alphonse. I like Alphonse. He's cool. But there's just one thing about him that bothers me, and it's that he just doesn't like Sami Zayn.
Not the whole toothbrush thing. Not muting his mic or anything.
Oh, the toothbrush thing, it was annoying, which, by the way, I also now have a mechanical toothbrush, so if we ever do end up bringing back the podcast and he's on there brushing his teeth, I'm basically just going to turn mine on to make him know how it feels.
Karma. Alright. Let's get now how you feel about Jimmy, aka the Enigma?
Are we talking outside of the podcast or in the podcast?
Both.
In the podcast, I despise him. I honestly think that the feuds he was given was basically just a huge waste of time. I mean, him and Booty Dust ended up facing for the world title, I don't know, like, how many times? Like 3-4 times in a row. Outside of the podcast, I don't know, I guess he's a pretty cool guy. He's in the NFL chat with me, and we talk football, me, him, Luigi, and Hunter, so I hate him in the podcast, outside the podcast. He's cool, I guess.
Alright. Movie 1, aka Prodigy, aka Luigi.
The word overachiever comes to mind. I feel when it comes to him in his personal life, he pushes himself way too hard and tries to do way too much. In the podcast, Jobber.
Oh, damn. That Jobber main event WrestleMania twice, if you think about it.
That Jobber didn't deserve his second main event. I'm sticking to that story, but not much you can do about it.
Alright, Hunter Davis, aka Youngblood.
Hunter, me and him have known each other, I want to say, upwards of 5-6 years now. We ended up meeting, as he said, in the Team 4-Star group. If I have to say something of, like, if I have to really narrow it down, it would be that he's a perv. A fun perv, but a perv nonetheless. Like, his young, but I can personally say from experience that his Youngblood character, out of everybody here, like, the Reaper thing, I mean, I can't necessarily actually be a Reaper. I mean, I guess you could call yourself a booty daddy, but I don't really know how your experience with relationships are. And Prodigy, it's
I'm an ass man.
yeah, Prodigy and everything, his whole entire name and gimmick and all that, like, what exactly was he supposed to be a prodigy of?
The Prodigy son of Real Talk?
Or, I mean, like, outside of that, like, outside of Real Talk, like, what could he really call him a prodigy of?
You know, I like the name. Honestly, I have to do a unique talk with him about that name. I honestly would want to know the background history of the name Prodigy, to be honest. Because that's his
Alright,
Xbox 360 gamer tag.
Alright, when it comes, it's also his PSN gamer tag, if you didn't know that as well.
Of course, I
But,
didn't know that. I don't play the fucking PlayStation.
of course you don't, because you're a fucking loser. Oh, sorry, we're not talking about you right now. We're talking about Hunter. Alright.
Your
Yeah,
roommate's
even my
your
room.
roommate's a stupid idiot.
Alright, so when it comes to Hunter, like, I can personally say from experience, like, I've been in multiple group chats with him outside of Real Talk, some of which are with women. And he, like, when it comes, like, if you do not put your foot down and say, hey, this is my girlfriend, he will be the first motherfucker to say, hey, baby, how you doing? Yeah, so, like, the Youngblood thing with Hunter, I can't really necessarily say it was just a gimmick. Like, he is one of the pervious motherfuckers I know of.
The real life Master Roshi.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now, these group chat with women, make sure you add me in that chat. I need if you know what I mean.
I would if I didn't leave most of them. Like, honestly, I have like 5 group chats I'm in now. The Team 4-Star group where all the admins are. I have a Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle group, which I do a chat with the admins, and then I have the NFL chat, Real Talk, and Nerd Squad with you guys.
Bring back Nerd Squad. Who said that? Who said that? Who said that?
Yeah. So, like, I used to have like upwards of 20 group chats, but
Alright.
ain't nobody got time for that.
Alrighty. Nerd Squad podcast. Shoot about that.
I mean, the only thing I have to say is, what the hell is Nerd Squad?
Exactly. It's Chris Benoit. It's the Chris Benoit of the Real Talk channel. It was good, but it's forgot about because of his personal history. Alrighty.
I don't really necessarily say it's forgotten about. It's just we never really did it because of work schedules.
Alrighty. The Big Bad Booty Daddy, the Elijah Bradshaw, Booty God, Malique Davis.
Booty Daddy, I have to say he's probably my greatest rival on the podcast. Would I necessarily call him a god? No, I believe that was a stupid nickname.
I like the name.
Yeah, well, like my roommate said, he watched some of the podcasts and he felt Booty God was kind of conceited.
Well, how did he feel like it was conceited?
Pretty much when Lex Luger made his WWE debut, when they gave him the character gimmick, the narcissist. That is the closest thing the actual wrestler I can relate Booty God to is Lex Luger's narcissist gimmick.
How dare he say I'm Lex Luger? I have you know that the Booty God persona was supposed to be like a King Bucker.
Was himself and everything like that. Thought his shit didn't stink, and that everybody else was just basically a lower class life form.
Well, he's not wrong there. You know what? You know what? He's on to something. Maybe he's right about something. You know, Booty God was he did find everyone beneath him.
Alright, now when it comes to Elijah Bradshaw, aka Malique Davis, I can't necessarily say I have a problem with him. However, he does have his flaws. For example, he's a petty Xbox user while everybody else is on PlayStation.
Don't worry. You see, you know what's funny? I have the money to buy a PS4 and the Switch. I just choose not to because one, I want to make sure I got clothes and stuff. Two, you know, I don't want to feel like I wasted money. And with the PlayStation 4, I feel like I will waste money because I will have to buy games on that system, and then most of the games I'll buy on PS4, I have on Xbox.
Yeah, well, like I said, if you ever got a PS4, I would get an Xbox. And a lot of the games that I have on PS4, I would have to buy for Xbox. But, I mean, when you're a gamer, that's pretty much what you do. If you want to play a game with people on Xbox, you buy the game for Xbox. And if you have people that want to play with you on PlayStation, you buy the game on PlayStation as well. You know?
I feel alright. I understand. But tell us your thoughts of your feud with with Booty Daddy, and not just the first one, but just overall the story, how you felt during the whole feud, and you know how it affected you in the podcast and out the podcast. 'Cause I remember you telling me that you know the feud gave you life. So talk about that.
Alright, so in the podcast, like you said, I honestly have to say that when it comes to the Booty Daddy and Reaper feud, I honestly have to say, like you said, without doing the feud with Reaper, you feel your character would have bombed. I also feel that my character probably would have bombed had feud. Now, when it comes to outside of the podcast, I'm not exactly the best person when it comes to, like, talking and doing stories and everything. Like, 9 times out of 10, like, and this is even when it comes to my friends and family, like, I do not open up to anybody about much of anything. Like, if something's bothering me, I usually don't say shit. So when it comes to me and you feuding, I feel that it basically opened up a door to where I was actually more willing to try and communicate with people, and actually help me figure out how to address certain situations in my IRL life. James, go through there.
I understand.
So,
I feel like the whole my feud, it kind of not only did it affect the Booty Daddy, but I feel like it affected Malik Davis because I feel like without that feud, I wouldn't really be more creative. And that's just like I'm not talking about with just like the character. I'm talking about just in life in general because it may sound crazy, but working in that angle with you, it really changed my mindset with stuff. Like I feel like you were like how you people say that there's a missing ingredient in your life and you find somebody that will help you. I feel like if it wasn't for you and what we did with Replant Booty Daddy, that without you, I feel like part of Malik wouldn't be here today because believe it or not, when I hang out with people or do it at work, I bring a little bit of what we did, my creativity outside of it. Like I'm more energetic. Like I'm not saying like I was a couch potato because I wasn't, but after I feud, I noticed like before did I feud with you, I was just a cool guy. But after I feuded with you, I was I right now I'm an outstanding guy. I'm very creative, very fun, very funny. So if it wasn't for you, I feel like not only would Booty Daddy fail, but I feel like my life would have been without you pushing me in that feud. I feel like I would have been a regular guy. So without you, I wouldn't be having this unique talk.
I can see that.
But your take on that, like, did you feel like the feud affected your personal life or build you to anything?
Well, well, like I just said, it somewhat did because I'm not exactly the best person when it comes to talking to other people, and doing these gimmicks basically made it to where I was actually more willing to actually try and work with other people on stuff. So yeah, I guess you could say it did. I went into the podcast like I would have never like tried doing anything when it comes to like doing gimmick type shit or feuding with people. So
Okay, very good. And before we wrap up, let me ask you these final questions. Number one, how can I become an admin on the Team 4-Star group? I'm really curious. I've been there for a long time. How can I become an admin? I'm just very curious.
basically, the only thing you have to do is just post a lot, communicate a lot with the group, and above all else, don't ask to be admin. Like, that's the one thing we look for is people who don't want to be, who don't seek power, but are willing to actually do what's necessary to actually obtain it.
Alright, so what you're telling me is to find 6 Infinity Gauntlets, six Infinity Stones, and put it on a gauntlet, and then snap my fingers and get rid of half of humanity.
Well, I mean, that would certainly raise your chances. I mean, it would certainly lower the list of contenders.
Alright, now I know what to do. The zero mortal plan is in action.
But no, seriously, in order to become an admin, just post more and basically just communicate more with people.
Alrighty, what's your thoughts of Real Talk? And I'm not talking about the new channel, I'm talking about the podcast. Real Talk Wrestling Podcast.
The podcast, I feel I can't necessarily say I agree with the ending. I feel that it was something that needed to be done. Overall, my experience with it, I had fun with what we were doing. I hope that one day we can actually bring the shit back, but I don't know, it's whatever right now, you know, it's people are living their lives. You have work, Prodigy has work, Hunter does college, I do my YouTube stuff. It's if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm not really gonna try and waste time convincing people to get along anymore. I mean, because when it came to the gimmicks and wanting to end the podcast, a bunch of other times, I was one of the only people trying to advocate for us not to end it. So, at this point, it's just whatever, I guess. If it comes back, cool. If not, then it was fun while it lasted.
Well, this has been a very unique talk, John, and I thank you for your time coming. I know it's been prolonged a while. It was gonna happen Tuesday, but like I said earlier, like early in the recording, that I have so many projects I wanted to do. It's just that work gets me tired. I just now I'm doing an 8-hour shift, and I gotta get my body ready to be working Sunday now. So I'll be working a full week, Monday through Sunday, without a day off.
So what, you work every single day of the week now, including overtime?
Yeah. Well, I didn't do overtime for the past 3 days because they told me they want me to stop at they don't want people the same people doing overtime every single day. So I was just like, you know what, I get 8 hours, so hey, whatever. But no, I think it's just gonna be this last. This is gonna be the only time I'm gonna do it this Sunday, and don't I mean don't hold your hopes up for a real talk return. Cause I'm announcing like July is the last. They said July is the last month of working Monday through Saturdays, and they say it's gonna be the second week of July that will end it. So I will say, expect some channel updates, but Real Talk Wrestling podcast, like I said, with Hunter, if anything, I would like for it to come back probably post SummerSlam, September-ish, maybe. And like I said, I feel like the problem with Real Talk is I should have asserted more authority, and I should have made sure that let everyone know that this isn't like with power. I mean, yes, everyone has their say so, but no one has more power than Malique does.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Like when it comes to the feuds and everything, like I think people should be able to like put input of who they want to feud with, but when it comes to making the matches, like the GM makes the matches and it's up to the people to actually make those matches work. So like if you put me in a feud if the situation called for it and you put me in a feud for the loserweight title, as much as I hate that championship and I find it a waste of my time, if I had to do it, I would do it with no questions asked. That's only if the situation called for it, though. Like, I'm not just gonna up and put myself into a loserweight title match when I ended up getting first or second place on a pay-per-view prior to that, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, I know what you're saying, dogs. But this has been a good talk, man. I'm glad to have you on it, John. Like I said, I consider you a good friend, and I don't want to lie to you. I'm gonna be out complete. I hope this talk was good for you as it was for me. You know, one on one. You know, you told me your truth. I told you my truth. I told you, you know, how I felt about it. You told me how you felt about it. And I'm hoping that me and you can still work on projects on my channel and on your channel, because I did enjoy being a guest on your channel with the Dragon Ball Z Pokemon game. I love doing that. I felt like it was fun. It was something new. It's something that I wanted to do, but I was glad to do it on your channel. And I hope that, you know, when I do projects on my channel, that you will do the same thing and just, you know, join for the ride and, you know, help me out.
Yeah. I'd like to have you on at any time, but like I said, for now it might have to be on stuff on your channel, because broken computer and all that shit, so.
Oh, I find it funny how you use the word broken computer with, you know, the man with the broken booty characters. But this has been Malique Davis featuring John Edwards, aka the Reaper of Real Talk, aka Crossfire, who has never made it to a podcast.
Sadly, but.
Oh, thankfully. I feel like we never got over. Well, with that being said, you need to talk with Malique. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks for tuning in.